So if you're thinking about getting started selling on Amazon, you've probably watched loads of content just like this on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and it is incredible how much free content there is available for new sellers at the moment. However, the issue is a lot of these content creators are just interested in selling you their online courses and training, and as a result, they don't always talk about the true reality of selling on Amazon, and in some cases actually lie to you about the realities of selling on Amazon. So in this video, I want to do something different, and I want to tell you 5 truths about selling on Amazon that not many gurus talk about. And these are all things I wish I had known as a new seller, and all things that I think you need to know about if you're thinking of getting started. So truth number 1 is about how long it takes to actually get started. Now, I see a lot of content creators talking about how you can get started in 2-3 months, and that is possible with the wholesale model. However, if you're thinking of getting started with the private label model, so actually creating your own branded products, you're typically looking at somewhere between 4 and 8 months from the point of actually starting learning about the business model, so no experience, to the point of actively selling on Amazon. Now that actually might sound longer than you guys expect, but if you think about it, there's a lot to do in that time because you're actually creating your own brand. So you've got to learn the business model. Then you need to do your product research. You need to discover and develop a product idea. You then need to create your brand name, logo, product packaging. You then need to source the product, get samples, decide on a final manufacturer, and then you actually need to manufacture the goods. Just getting to that point alone is going to take you around 4 months. And then from that point, if you're shipping from China to the UK, you're looking at about 60 days shipping door to door from your manufacturer to the Amazon fulfillment centers. So that will take you to the 6-month mark. Now, I'm not telling you this to put you off at all. In my opinion, going from a position of a complete beginner, not knowing anything about the business model or even business at all, going from that point to a point of actually launching and selling your own branded product that you've created within 6 months, to me that doesn't sound like very long at all. But the reason why it's really important to note is that if you think you can get started in 2 or 3 months, then that's just not the case, and you need to know that it does take longer than that. Truth number 2 is about 100K per month products. So there is so much content out there showing you how to do product research, and when you do product research, how you can find 100K per month or 200K per month products, and they'll often show you products doing these numbers on tools like Helium 10 and Jungle Scout, and short form content is particularly bad at this. The reality is that yes, there are loads of products that do generate 50, 100, or even 200K per month in revenue on Amazon. But the reality is, as a new seller, you're very unlikely to be able to afford to launch a product like that because you simply don't have the starting budget to be able to afford enough stock to launch a product like that. So typically, you can afford to launch a product that sells somewhere between 1 and 1.5 times your starting budget in monthly revenue. So if you had a starting budget of £5,000, you can afford to launch a product that is going to sell somewhere between £5,000 and £7,500 per month. So if you wanted to launch a £100,000 per month product, you would need around £100,000 starting budget to actually launch that product, which most of you just don't have. Now, I'm not saying those products don't exist. I'm not saying that you can't launch them further down the line if you have more money in the company, if you reinvest your profits later on in your journey. It's just not realistic at the beginning of your journey. Truth number 3 is about product launches. So the vast majority of private label products on Amazon are actually not profitable for their first 1 to 3 months. Actually, the majority of private label products actually make a loss during their first 1 to 2 months. Now, this isn't always the case. I've actually worked with lots of students who have had products that are profitable from their first month, and I've actually interviewed a couple of them on my YouTube channel. But for the majority of private label products, they are actually not profitable for their first few months. The reason for this is when your product listing first goes live, your new product listing, you actually have very low organic ranking, and as a result, very low organic visibility. And as a result of that, very low organic sales. And organic sales are really where you make your profit as an Amazon seller. So to gain organic visibility, to gain organic ranking, you need to go through a product launch. And during your product launch, you're spending a lot of money on PPC. You want to be quite aggressive with your PPC campaigns. The majority of your sales are going to be coming from your PPC campaigns, and you'll often set a lower selling price to try and drive that sales velocity during your product launch. All of these things tend to lead to making a loss during your first 1 to 2 months, but don't worry if you're seeing this. This is totally normal. It's nothing to worry about. The majority of products see this, and if you weren't aware of this, this is just something to be aware of. Just like any business, with private label products, you need to invest money into the business early on for marketing to see return on investment in the future. Truth number 4 is about profit margins. So I see so much content these days on TikTok and Instagram of content creators talking about how you can make 50-60% profit margins on Amazon. And yes, there probably are some very rare products that you can make those kind of profit margins with, but for the majority of private label products on Amazon, profit margins are somewhere between 15 and 30% after all costs, including Amazon PPC advertising costs, which is something not many content creators talk about. And Amazon PPC can actually take up a sizable chunk of your revenue. Now, what profit margin you'll actually get will really depend on four main things. So number one, how competitive the market is that you're launching into. Number two, how well you have developed your product idea and how desirable it is compared to your competition. Number three, how high quality your product listing is and how high your conversion rate is. And fourth and finally, the quality of your PPC structure and strategy. Truth number five is about quitting your day job. Now guys, sorry about the lighting in here. I had really good natural lighting earlier, but the sun's decided to go down a bit quicker than expected. So it's a little bit dark, but yeah, just bear with me. So you will see a lot of content creators talking about how they have quit their 9-to-5 job to do Amazon full time. And that is definitely something that you can do. It's a reality. And actually you can technically do it just with one product, provided that product's selling pretty well and generating a decent profit margin. However, I wouldn't recommend actually quitting your 9-to-5 job for Amazon early on in your journey. And here, let me explain why. If you leave your 9-to-5 job, you're going to be reliant on your Amazon business to cover all of your expenses, which means you're going to be taking out the majority of the profit from the Amazon business to actually pay your expenses. By doing that, there's going to be no profit building up in the company, and you're not going to have the available cash flow to actually be able to launch future products, and you're not going to be able to grow the business as quickly. If instead you stick with your day job can cover your living expenses. You can then leave the profit in the company so that profit can actually build up. So you actually have available budget, available cash flow to be able to launch future products and grow the business quicker. So I wouldn't actually recommend quitting your day job for Amazon FBA until your business is actually generating twice what you're earning in your job, so that you can still take out profit from the business for your living expenses and have an equal amount actually building up in the business to be able to have available for future product launches and growing the business. And this is something that's very rarely talked about. Once you actually understand the business model, it's very easy to rinse and repeat the process for future product launches, and you can, in theory, grow the business very quickly. Your biggest bottleneck, your biggest limiting factor is going to be cash in the business. It's going to be cash flow. So you want to do everything you can to build up the cash in the business as quickly as possible. And the best way to do that is to leave as much profit in the business as possible. So if you've got a good 9-to-5 job and you want to grow your business as quickly as possible, stay in your 9-to-5 job, at least at the beginning anyway. So guys, I really hope that this has opened your eyes to some of the realities of selling on Amazon. Like I said, I'm not telling you any of this to put you off selling on Amazon. I just think when you're planning on starting a new business, the easiest way to fail is to set unrealistic expectations. So by knowing what the realities of selling on Amazon are, you can set realistic expectations. You're less likely to get demotivated and you're more likely to stick with the business. You're more likely to see success. So hopefully you found this video helpful. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Apologies about the lighting, and I will see you in the next one.